Found on the banks of the River Clyde sits a grand medieval castle. Built in the mid-13th century, it has been a stronghold for both the English and the Scots. This is Bothwell Castle. Walter of Murray began construction of the castle around 1252, but by the start of the Scottish Wars of Independence, only the donjon, the prison tower and short connecting curtain wall had been completed. Foundations for the rest of the castle were in place and defended by a wooden palisade. The castle was seized by King Edward I during his invasion of Scotland, and at this time it was held by Walter's son William Moray. The Scots besieged the castle for 14 months during 1298-1299, and the castle eventually capitulated. Edward, however, returned to Scotland in 1301 and captured the castle once more, with a force of 6,800 men and specially constructed siege machines. Bothwell became the headquarters of Aymer de Valence, 2nd Earl of Pembroke, and also Edward's appointed Warden of Scotland. It remained in English hands for several years. After Bruce's victory at the Battle of Bannockburn, the English-held castle provided shelter for several English nobles. The castle's constable, Sir William Fitzgibbard, surrendered the castle to the approaching Scots army. For this act, Sir Walter received the barony of Cadzow. The Scots slighted the castle after its surrender. In 1336, King Edward III and his army marched into Scotland, and he had the castle repaired and made it his headquarters. Sir Andrew Moray, great-nephew of Sir William, was the rightful owner of Bothwell Castle and retook the castle with the help of siege engines. Again, the castle was slighted and lay in ruin until the 1360s. In 1362, Joan Moray of Bothwell married Archibald Douglas, who was nicknamed the Grim. Douglas began rebuilding Bothwell Castle, repairing the donjon and completing the walls. The work was continued by his son, also named Archibald, and by 1424 had constructed the Great Hall, adjacent chapel and towers to the north-east and south-east corners, along with curtain walls connecting to the donjon enclosing the courtyard. The Black Douglases were forfeited in 1455 and their lands were returned to the Crown. James III granted Bothwell to Lord Crichton and then to Sir James Ramsay, both of whom were also forfeited in turn. In 1488, Bothwell was then granted to Patrick Hepburn, 2nd Lord of Hales, and the Earldom of Bothwell was created. Hepburn did not retain the castle for long. Instead, he exchanged it with Archibald Douglas, 5th Earl of Angus, who was also known as Archibald Bell the Cat. In return, Hepburn got Hermitage Castle in Linsdale. Bothwell was now back in the Douglases' control and descended through the Earls of Angus and Marquesses of Forfar. Another Archibald Douglas, the 1st Earl of Forfar, began constructing a manor house nearby, destroying a tower of the castle to use the stone. After the death of the 2nd Earl at the Battle of Sheriffmuir in 1715, the castle reverted back to the senior line of the Douglases, represented by the 1st Duke of Douglas and his heirs. The castle then descended to the Earls of Home, who in 1935 gave Bothwell Castle into state care.